Hey everyone, it's Cece here, and today I'm going to show you how to make one of these gorgeous little macrame love heart key rings, which are super easy to make. So to start, I just like to grab a piece of paper and draw the size of the love heart that I want my keyring to be. So you can make these as big or as small as you like really, and I'm just going to make a really little love heart today. But if you wanted to do something a bit bigger, you could also draw a much bigger love heart and then do the same steps that I'm about to do with your love heart. But I'm just using the smaller one, and then I'm just going to grab a piece of 3mm cotton cord and then use that love heart that I've drawn and kind of trace around the outside of it using that piece of string. And this will just give me the amount of string that I need for my love heart. And when I've worked that out, I also want to leave a little bit of tassel at the end and then cut it to length. So now you'll have a piece of string that's long enough to make that size love heart you're after, and you also just need a piece of wire that's half the length of this piece of string. So that will go on the inside of the love heart as well to hold its shape. So now we just want to grab our 1mm piece of cord, and I'm going to grab one end and fold it so it's a loop like so. And then we're going to use this loop to create a wrap knot around that thicker piece of cord. So I'm taking the longer end and I'm just going to hold all of these strings together, and using that longer end of that thin purple cord, I'm wrapping around the thicker cord, starting at the bottom of my loop and working my way up to the top of the loop. So making sure you're wrapping it fairly tight. And then just grabbing that piece of wire, and we're going to grab one end of the wire and just insert it inside the wrap knot. So I'm putting it essentially in the center of my thick cord. And then we can just keep wrapping. So now we're wrapping around the thick cord, that loop, and the wire all together. And you just want to keep wrapping fairly tightly all the way up until you get to the very top of the loop. Okay, so I've made it to the very top of the loop there, and now I just take that end of that purple bit of string and I'm going to pop it through the loop. It doesn't really matter which way, just as long as it feeds through the loop. And then I'm going to grab that little short end on the opposite side and pull on that so the loop goes through into my wraps and locks the whole wrap knot in place. So you can see now that the loop has disappeared inside the wrap, and that's going to lock all of those wraps in place. Just need to cut off the ends now on both sides so the wrap is neat. And there we go. Now we have our finished wrap, and we're just going to shape this. But before we do that, you just want to make sure that there's no wire sticking out on either end. So I've got a little bit of wire here. I'm just going to grab my wire cutters and cut that off so there's no dangerous ends of wire sticking out. Okay, so we're going to bring the two ends of the wrap together now to create like a loop. And what we're going to do is join these two ends together using another wrap knot. So you want to hold those two ends together and then grab another piece of that thin purple cord, create a smaller loop, and then I'm just going to flip this around to the back side and put my loop up against those two ends, and essentially I'm wrapping now around both ends to bring them together. And you want to do this nice and tight so the ends stay together. So once you've got enough wraps, you then again need to pull your end through the loop. And then just pull on that other shorter end and pull it through into the wraps so it locks everything in place. Cutting my ends from this wrap so it's also neat. And so now my two ends are joined together. Now we're just going to brush out this fringe at the bottom and cut it so it sits nice and neat. So I'm just going to grab my comb and brush out this tail so it's nice and fluffy. And now I'm going to grab my scissors and trim this off so it's all the same length at the bottom. Okay, so now we just need to bend our loop so it looks more like a love heart. So just using your fingers to bend that wire in place, creating more of a love heart shape. I like to also grab my wire cutters and use them to clamp the center of the love heart together, just so it creates more of a point. And so now it looks like a lovely little love heart. So if your wrap knot becomes a little bit messy, like what mine has, you can just kind of move the strings around. So I'm just going to pull down on my tassels and move up that center wrap knot so it sits in place. And now that's looking a lot neater in the middle there. So now we just have to attach the little O-ring as well as the key ring to our love heart. So to do that, you just start with the small O-ring and grab your pliers and open that up. And you want to then slide your love heart inside that O-ring and also slide your key ring hook inside there as well. And once they're both in there, you can just clamp that wire back together so they're locked in place. And so now I have my love heart attached to the key ring and it's all finished and ready to pop on my keys. So there you go, guys. That's how you create a beautiful little macrame love heart key ring. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and you'll give it a go for yourself at home. Thanks for watching, and here's to finding our peace and creativity.